Hello, I'm Kaz, and welcome to my Nintendo DS collection. Now, you might be wondering, how many DS games exactly do I own? Well, I'd say quite a few. So grab yourself some popcorn and enjoy. We're going to be taking a look at all these games. But first, I'd like to take a look at two games that, while I own, don't exactly have the cases for. Dragon Quest IV. A decent game in its own right, but it's a remake of a great classic game for the NES. Civilization Revolution, on the other hand, it's an original game, however, it's not as good as the Civilization games for the PC. It's a good time killer if you can get your hands on it for cheap, though. Alright, let's start with the games in the box. Kirby Squeak Squad. As far as Kirby games, this is probably the weakest one that I've played. Well, it's not bad, it's just Kirby and the Amazing Mirror 2. The only difference is you're collecting treasure chests. Overall, I'd say skip it though. Yoshis Island ES. When compared to the original, it's not exactly a comparison that's fair. The original beats it outright. On its own, it's a pretty decent game. However, it focuses a bit too much on gimmicks like Baby Donkey Kong, Baby Bowser, Baby Wario. Baby Wario. I think we should just leave it on that. Radiant Historia. Now this is a game that I highly recommend if you love Japanese RPGs. It's a great homage to games like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 2 and 3, or if you really want to get technical, Final Fantasy 4 and 6. But either way, it has a great combat system and a great implementation of time traveling. Sonic Chronicles, The Dark Brotherhood. This is a game that, while it sounds interesting, a Sonic RPG, it is very gimmicky. I certainly don't recommend it, especially for the hardcore Sonic fans, seeing how there's better games. But if you want an RPG that's a little different, it's not terrible, it's just not that great. If you do want a good Sonic game for your DS, look no further than the Sonic Rush series. I have Sonic Rush Adventure here with me right now. While it does have a few gimmicks of its own, such as the vehicle stages, the running stages are what make it so great. The fun, fast-paced action of Sonic is back. The bosses are also pretty good, and the soundtrack is catchy as heck. Or hell, if you would rather have me swear. But, either way, I don't recommend it a whole lot, but if you were looking for that old-school Sonic, this is for you. Now here I have two games. Spectrobes and Spectrobes Beyond the Portal. Both are decent games in their own right. They're definitely considered to be Pokemon rip-offs, but they have their own unique idea with fossil collecting. If I'm gonna say get one of them, I'd say get Beyond the Portals, but either one is a decent title. Beautiful Joe Double Trouble. This is a very mediocre game. It focuses way too heavily on the gimmicks. It does not impress you at all. And, as far as presentation goes, it has terrible slowdown at times. Overall, I would say skip this one. Don't even bother trying it. The World Ends With You. This is, in my opinion, the best DS game by far. Excellent gameplay, great graphics, just an overall wonderful game. It may be a bit difficult at first, but once you get over that little problem, you'll be loving every minute of this game. If you can find it, buy it. I highly recommend it. Okay, so now we have two games yet again. Advance Wars Dual Strike and Advance Wars Days of Ruin. Both of them are great games in their own right. However, if I had to choose between the two, I would say get Dual Strike. It's just an all-around more polished game. And while graphics are nice, having better graphics doesn't make it a better game. Animal Crossing Wild. It's Animal Crossing. What do you expect? So, it's fun on its own, but it's more fun to have more people playing with you. I don't recommend it a whole lot if you don't have a lot of friends, or if you don't have a lot of friends with the DS, but if you can find a lot of friends with this game, you'll have a blast. Chrono Trigger. If you haven't played the SNES Classic, then you need to play this game. It's one of the best games ever. I don't think that there's really much to say that hasn't already been said, so just know why this game is so beloved. It's one of the best out there. Contra 4. This is an amazing game. For Contra's 20th anniversary, they went all out, and it paid off big time. It's mean, it's hard, it is bullet hell shooting. And that is Contra. Custom Robo Arena. I don't know what it is about this game. While I loved Custom Robo on the GameCube, this game felt a little bit short. I think it was because it was on the DS instead of an actual console, but overall, it just feels like a mediocre version of the GameCube version, and a lot more gimmicky. Dragon Quest IX. This is probably the best Dragon Quest game that I've played so far, but to be honest, it's not too different. The only difference is that you can customize your characters very extensively, and that's what makes this game so fun. You can choose your class, your character, the weapon they have. Overall, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of customization, but story-wise, it's very weak. Drawn to Life. And Drawn to Life, the next chapter. As far as the games go, I really only got this because of the draw anything aspect. It was very fun, and while it didn't exactly have a great story, there was something that was very captivating about it, and it was a very charming game. The sequel, on the other hand, is garbage. If you're gonna pick between the two, get Drawn to Life. Drawn to Life, the next chapter, should have ended on the second page. It is a terrible game. Dungeon Explorer. Warriors of Ancient Arts. I don't remember the last time I actually played this game. From what I can remember, it was okay. It certainly wasn't anything fantastic, especially if I can't remember much about it. But I guess if it looks appealing to you by the cover, go ahead and try it. If not, don't. Elite Beat Agents. This is by far one of the best music games that I've ever played, and it is easily one of the best games for the DS. It's been imitated quite a few times on the system, but there's nothing that even comes close to it. Just the rhythm, the speed, and the difficulty that makes this game so great. Final Fantasy IV, or Final Fantasy II on the SNES, which is remade for the DS. Out of all the reiterations of Final Fantasy IV, this is probably the best well-known, and it's probably the best well-known for a reason. It is one of the best remakes I've played in a long, long time. So, if you haven't played it, I'd say pick it up. Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon. I know a lot of people really don't like this game, and to be honest, it does take a few steps back, but on its own, it's a decent tactical RPG. It's certainly nothing like the original Fire Emblem 7, or Fire Emblem if you live in North America, but overall, a decent game. Fire Emblem fans, please take a step back and just see it for what it is. It's an NES game, 1990. Photo Showdown. Wait, Photo Showdown? This is probably the only Nintendo DSi game that I can think of, or rather, Nintendo DSi exclusive hard copy. It's, as you can expect, another Pokemon ripoff, and to be quite honest, the only reason I got it is because I wanted something exclusive for the Nintendo DSi to justify me buying it. But it did not even in the slightest. Golden Sun Dark Dawn. It's a pretty good game. However, as far as the other Golden Sun games, it's not anywhere near a comparison. This is probably the weakest, but at the same strongest. As far as story goes, it's weak, but as far as gameplay goes, it's exhilarating, and it's a lot of fun. Grand Theft Auto Chinatown Wars. I bet you never expected Nintendo to have a Grand Theft Auto game, let alone on their handheld, but here it is. It's a great game on its own right. However, a lot of people say, oh, it's a bit too non-Grand Theft Auto. The ironic thing is that it plays a lot more like the original Grand Theft Auto and Grand Theft Auto 2, before Grand Theft Auto 3 pretty much erased those games from history. Ghost Trick Phantom Detective. This was made by the team who made Phoenix Wright, and if you have any love for that game, or any of the games in the series, then you will love this game. It has an excellent story, and it has a great gameplay mechanic with ghosts. Overall, if you are looking for a good Nintendo DS game that came out within the past few years, this is one of the best that I can recommend. Kirby Superstar Ultra. This was a remake of the Super Nintendo game, and while it's not as good as the original, if it's the only way you can get the game, it's certainly worth picking up. It's a lot of games in one. Not to mention a few minigames. Nights in the Nightmare. As you can see, I got this game pre-owned, and to be quite honest, I'm kinda glad that I did, because getting it at full price, I'd be a little bit frustrated. It's not a bad game at all. In fact, it's a pretty good game. However, the difficulty is outrageous. I have never played a game that has had this steep of a difficulty curve, and while I do recommend you try it for yourself, I don't recommend you try and get it for full price. See if you can get it pre-owned like I did.